welcome to the new video. Today I will be talking about Braum, who in my opinion is one of the best defensive support in the game and also can bring you so much fun. Now let's get into this. So for runes, you will want to take Guardian every time because you are mostly a defensive support, so you want to stay next to your ally and protect him every time he would get attacked, and you have nice synergy with your W because even if you get further out of the circle of effectiveness of Guardian, you will be able to use W and give them the shield. So Guardian is easy choice. Grasp of the Undying is Grasp of the Undying, and Aftershock could work, but you not always may be able to be near enemy when you're using it. So I go for Guardian. And next small rune depends on preferences. You never want to go Shield Bash since, Guardian is the only way you get a shield apart from items. So I prefer to go Font of Life since I want to keep my ADCs alive and I you have three ways of impairing movement. So it works really nice, and in team fights, it doesn't seem like much, but it can turn them around if you're tanky enough already. Or if you want to push, you can go for Demolish, but as I said, Braum is mostly defensive support, so you won't have many opportunities to go and push under enemy tower. So you won't use Demolish so often. But if you want to, you can go and be aggressive as you want. Next, I go for bone plating because you want to usually pair Braum with a stronger ADC like Lucian because of his, well, you want to pair Braum with Lucian because of his passive, but you want to be strong early, so it's bone plating for me. You can go for second wind if they really have a really strong poke, but usually if you can, you don't take Braum into poking matchups. And lastly, it's either Overgrowth or Unflinching. Unflinching works kinda nice, but since you really want to be there to protect your allies and want to be using your E and also with your maximum health, your Q damage increases, I go for Overgrowth because I like that little bonuses it gives you. So that's gonna be everything for main rune. And now for secondary rune, you want to usually go for inspiration. Well, always. I always go inspiration with Biscuit Delivery and Cosmic Insight because again, haste on every spell you have is really useful since you want to be basically spamming your Q late game, and you should be able with this because it has fairly low cooldown later, and this even makes it better. And Biscuit Delivery you want to use because you have quite high mana costs early, so this helps you a lot. You could probably try to change it for magical footwear. I've done it few times. Problem with that is that you will be able to chase champions more easily and apply your passive, but you always should be able to have your ADC to do that. So I just go for biscuits because they're better. And lastly, we got smaller runes where you will want to take again cooldown reduction, and then depending on enemy ADC, either to armor or to magic resist. If you think that you know they will have AP hypercarry, for example, on main jungle, you get the point. You can go for 1-1, but having those double resistances helps you early and also makes your W stronger. So that is going to be everything. Now let's have a look at game where I will talk about everything else. Okay, so first off, for summoners, you will want to take Flash and Ignite because you mostly want to play Braum with engaging ADCs, and Ignite is really helpful in the early game. You can try to go for Exhaust if you are really afraid of assassins, but I don't. I just think that Ignite gives Braum much better value. So with it done, let's go straight into items. So your first item is always going to be Steel Shelter Guards. You can use Relic Shield, probably, but any of your abilities doesn't scale well. Like your ultimate has 60% scaling. So I just go for Steel Shoulder Guards for that better early game thanks to AD. And then of course health potions. So that is your first item which you will want to take. You of course want to take controllers as often as you can. Next, you will definitely want to get your boots because you just have to engage on enemy, and with that 25 move speed you can chase them after you hit them with your Q. Uh, I usually recommend finishing boots as your first item so you can actually move fast. So you probably will go for plated steel caps or mercury threads. Again, it depends on enemy team comp. I usually go for steel caps since you're fighting on bot lane and almost every bot laner uses auto attacks. Although, if you crush your line and know that on the other part of the maps your team is struggling, you can go for the boots that accord to the strong line of enemy team. After that, your main item is going to be usually first it's either Locket of the I said Locket, Solari Locket, or it's going to be Zeke's Convergence. I most of the time go for Locket first because the shield is really nice, and of course you grant the resistances to nearby allies, so that works nicely with your W. Then, as I said, you want to go for Zeke's because when you immobilize when you when you immobilize enemy champions, you have two CCs, and one of them is global. So global, oh my god, uh, it's area of effect CC. So your ally should be able to deal such a high damage to them that they should have no chance. Well, allies. And yeah, that is going to be your core. After that, you usually want to go for Knight's Vow because it's a really great support item for tanks, and Braum is a really tanky champion. And then it depends on what you want. I usually prefer to go for Redemption, but if you have either really strong AD or AP enemy team comp, you can go either for Thornmail or Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask. Which, of course, you want Abyssal Mask into AP team. Uh, and that is going to be everything for items. As I said, Redemption is, in my opinion, best because first off, you don't get much ability to deal so much damage, and you also apart from taking damage, are not such great in defending your allies. Of course, you're great peeler, but that's another thing. So healing that you provide and also dealing true damage to enemies is, in my opinion, really good, and I use this build most of the time. Now let's have a look at Braum's abilities. So first off, here we will start with Q. So it's a quite slow mid-range projectile which deals damage according to your, well, it deals base damage, but then the damage scales with your bonus health. So it's 2.5% right now. You can see I have 3000 health, so it deals right now to this, yeah, 0 resistance is minion, it deals 300 damage. It is quite strong early game, and it deals such a high slow that enemies are usually not able to escape you after you engage. I will talk about more ADCs and interactions with this later. So this is your Q, and as you can see, it applies this four-part stack down here. That is your passive. So basically, every time you hit enemy champions with auto attack or your Q, you will apply one of these stacks. After the ram down here is filled, you will stun them and deal bonus damage. For some duration, they cannot be applied another stacks, but for the same duration, you are able to deal bonus damage to them. It is like Braum's strongest ability, because stunning enemy team just by auto-attacking them works really great. And since you can apply to multiple targets, as long as your allies keep attacking them, you are able to kill them. So here you can have a look at math. And yes, so basically in lane, when you're playing, you want to stay near your ally most of the time. And then once you see opportunity, just hit your Q. And your ADC should be able to follow up, fill up the stacks. And then you can come up to the enemy, damage them, put up your shield, which I will talk about probably right now, and stop them. So this is your passive, this is your Q. You want to use that, up max that as your first ability. As your second ability, you want to get Braum's shield, his E. In any direction you want, you will create this shield for, I think it's, yeah, yes, it's 4 seconds. So for 4 seconds, you will be blocking any damage going towards you. First, well, it's projectile and auto attacks. As you can see, it says intercepting enemy missiles, but it works for every auto attack in the game. So if, for example, enemy team has Nasus stacked, you can block that Q with your unbreakable. So you can nullify some of Nasus's damage. But most importantly, you want to use this to protect your ADC when you're in team fight. So they try to focus them. This is wrong ability. They try to focus them. You put out your E, and they can't get to them. You will also take decreased damage for everything you intercept. I think it's 40%. Yes, 40% less damage. So you will be able to block most of the things. If there are some uh, abilities that are single targeted, like for example Veigar's ultimate, you can try to put the shield behind you and it will still intercept the projectile if you're not able to do it fast enough and block it in front of you. So yes. Also, I should mention that you will not be able to deflect CC. You will block the damage, but you will still get CC'd like every other champion. So yeah, that's about it. Now Braum's W. It is a quite long range dash where you can target any enemy, uh, target uh, ally. You can target any ally, champion or minion, granting both yourselves and them bonus resistances, as you can see right here. For that, you will dash extremely fast, and while you're in your dash, you can cast your abilities. So let's say that we got Lucian right here, and I just put up my shield during my dash. My ADC can't be damaged, and Lucian ultimate is gone to waste. It is a really strong ability because you can mess up with enemies a lot, and also if you are in need and there is no best way to jump out of dangerous situation, you can put the resistances on yourself. And as you can see right here, right now I have 200 armor. It's 250. It's actually really strong and kind of part of the reason why Braum was used as solo laner in past. That is of course gone, but just want you to know that this is part of the reason. And lastly, we got your ultimate. Uh, it is a quite large area around Braum and in front of him. So basically, Braum will, after a short delay, knock up closest enemy champion, and every uh, other champion he hits will be knocked up for a shorter amount too. So right now, as you can see, everyone was CC'd, but this guy for quite longer time. Also, as you could see the rift right there, basically that's a really high slow, which applies to every enemy that passes through it. So it is a great team fighting ability where you can CC the whole entire team and then cripple their mobility. I'll try to show you once more time. The area around you works really nice, so you can actually try to, if you need to, you can flash forward to get full team, and the enemy behind you will still be CC'd. And because he's closest, he will be CC'd for longer. And all your allies are able to attack them and possibly kill them if you continue up with your Q and auto attacks, applying your passive. So that's it for abilities. Now, well, I guess I could talk about some combos. So first off, you will probably want to know about the early game if you get engaged on and are not in the attacking position. You just want to auto-attack enemy, Q them, auto-attack again. They're on 3 stacks. Either your ADC already attacked them, or you can just finish them off with that 4th stack really easily. They're stunned, and you get 3 damage. So that is the most basic and useful thing I can talk about. For something more complicated, I guess, you want to put out your ultimate, then target them with your Q, dash to nearby ally, and again finishing off with your stacks. So it looks something like this. I can do it one more time. You wanna go for ultimate Q, W, boom, boom, and boom. It works really nice for some picks when basically it usually works for assassins who try to engage on any of your ally. You want to use your ultimate from afar, so they sometimes when you can be in a bush, that's just theory, but they may not have so much time to react. Your Q comes simultaneously, so they will get slowed, and then you're just there and are killing them. You can uh, follow up with your E2. So after you Q, you can be there with your E already and negating any damage they are trying to deal. And that is actually it. You of course can use your Q with flash, but on Braum it's not so useful since you don't deal that high damage and it's quite long. So it's an option, but there's really low usage for your Q flash. And yes, that is going to be everything for combos, which are really short today. Now into some laning part. So first off, you will want to always be near your ally champion because you want to trigger your guardian and be ready to use your E. Most of the time, you can be really pain in the ass for enemy laner, like I mean ADC, because thanks to the resistances you grant with your W and intercepting in your E, if they try to go for some of your, it mostly works with W in the lane. I will talk about the next part later. But when you attack someone with your dish to someone with your W, you grant them the defenses, that minion. So if they are trying to last hit enemy cannon minion, basically your W negates all their hard work and their minions will get it instead, which can throw them off and set them behind in farming. Also, if you are able to get under enemy tower, then it's even worse for them if they don't have some really good clear. Because right now, as you can see, the target tower is damaging the minion. But if you come here and let's say if they try to, for example, kill this minion, you can't intercept missiles from towers, obviously. Nothing can do that. But you can block their attacks. So if you pushed under their tower, which won't happen often, but it may happen, when your cannon minion is getting low, just put up your E, tower will kill it, and they will get nothing again. So those are some really useful things. Now, of course, for some uh, what do you call it? Interactions between champions. Braum is extremely good against engaging champions like Thresh, Leona, Pike, because when they happen to, they usually hit a power spike on level 2. So if you already have your level 2, you will be able to easily block damage from enemy ADC. So let's say Leona engages on my ADC, their ADC is coming, but 4 seconds of them not being able to damage my teammate. And meanwhile, Leona is standing here and she's not able to put out another kind of damage because it's level 2, she probably doesn't have her W yet, and she's just a really tanky sitting duck. So that is most of it. Then you work really great with champions who have on-hit effects on their abilities, or for example Lucian, who with his passive is able to put up 2 auto attacks at once. So how that works is that basically when you Q enemy champion, Lucian just dashes towards them, puts up another 2 stacks, and they're slowed by 70%. So either one of you should be able to hit that one last auto attack. They are stunned, you're dealing bonus damage, they are dead, you won. Some other great champions to pair with Braum would probably, at least in my opinion, is Ashe, because again, you slow them with your Q, and then she starts to slowing them with her auto attack. So again, unless they waste some mobility spell or flash, they can't escape. And then once they're stunned, you come near, And even early game, you should probably have your Q ready again, so you can slow them again. And they are dead. Yeah. Also, Ezreal and mostly Ezreal is really nice because his Q has really low cooldown, pairs nice with auto attacks, and applies the stacks. So he should be able to burst them with your passive really easily. But yes, that's some of the best champions to pair with Braum. For enemy laners, Braum works great, as I said, against bursty champions. So if they happen to have someone like, let's say, Lux is not so often used as support nowadays, but because her Q and E have such low cooldowns, you probably won't be able to defend your ADC so often. So Braum does really bad against poking champions because they are just able to damage you so often that you won't be able to put up the protection. So if possible, pick Braum into hard engage champions, as I said, like Leona or Thresh. Those are probably Braum's two best laners to play against. And yes, I believe that is going to be everything. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what champion would you like to see next. Subscribe if you want to see more champions. And battery out. Bye.